you asked who would win the fight between the two. I actually think Zuckerberg would. I would be rooting for Elon Musk because he's more of a proponent of free speech. But the reports are that Zuckerberg has been training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a couple of years now, potentially. And for those of you out there who are not familiar with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, basically the idea is you're on the ground grappling and you try to put people in submission holds. So the advantage Elon Musk would have is, I believe Elon's around 6 feet tall, and he outweighs Zuckerberg by 50 or 60 pounds, which typically would have them in a different fighting category. Zuckerberg is only 5'7", Buck, so he's a pretty small dude. And but I feel like the grappling training would outweigh the value that you get from the height and weight, because most people don't fight for a living. So the person who has been trained as a fighter, even if it's not a very big person, would at least have the ability to put you into a submission hold. So I would make Zuckerberg the favorite here. What about you?
Oh man, I think Musk. If I have to say, I've seen a fair number of these clips of people in various scraps on the street and bar fights and things like that. It's tough when you're on Twitter and one of those fight clips shows up. You know, the boxing analyst in you or the wrestling analyst in you wants to just see how everything shakes out. Size weight advantage is huge, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, but Zuckerberg has been training 50 pounds, which is what the difference in weight is, probably 50 pounds between Elon and Zuckerberg." I got to give the plus. I feel like Musk is probably fights pretty dirty. I feel like he's probably, if he's cornered, he's a mean guy. He'd throw some elbows.
Also a decade older on Musk. How much would you? Here's a good question. How much would you have to get paid to fight Zuckerberg? You're, substantially bigger than Zuckerberg. I would say that Zuckerberg in general, I think it's fair to say, you probably agree with this, has a reputation as a super nerd. So you would, if you lost, get beaten up by a super nerd. If you won, most people would say, yeah, of course. I mean, it's Mark Zuckerberg. How could you not? This is the quintessential, you don't gain very much, you lose a lot. How much money would you have to get into a squared combat circle or whatever with Zuckerberg?
And I think I'd probably do it for free because the buck would take out the Zuck real fast.
But what if you got choked out and then you had to come back on the radio show Monday and Zuck choked you out?
I've done enough wrestling and judo that Mr. Zuckerberg's year of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not going to overcome the size, strength, speed advantage. It's not going to happen. I think I'd do it for charity at this point. I don't even think I need to get paid.
I'm 6 foot 185. I think I would need to get paid a lot of money because I would be I haven't trained for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, those guys know how to put submission holds on you.
Well, wait, are we allowed to throw punches? Are we talking about MMA style? Are we talking about only in Jiu-Jitsu? I'd have a problem because I don't roll Jiu-Jitsu. But if we're saying we could throw haymakers and kicks and stuff, Zuck's in a lot of trouble.
Look, I do 9 rounds of boxing 3 days a week. I have a boxing instructor come to the house. I feel pretty good about my conditioning and boxing ability. But the thing with all of these, they take you to the ground, Buck. Like, the whole purpose of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to get you off your feet. So I don't, yes, you could. My strategy if I were fighting Zuckerberg would be that I would have to catch him with a punch before he's doing the slides and getting you on the ground.
He'd take you to the ground.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're underrating.
I ground and pound.
That's why I want a lot of money, because I would be afraid once you get me off my feet, he would have an advantage. So the last thing I want to do is have to come on the show on Monday and everybody's waiting and I come on, I'm like, yeah, Zuckerberg choked me out. And would you trust me less in the audience if you knew that Mark Zuckerberg had put me to sleep?
I mean, to be fair, if I lost that, especially after saying this to Zuckerberg, not only would you be making fun of me, but, Jesse Kelly and
Buck, it's not only a short-term thing. Every moment for the rest of your life, when you say any opinion, the number one comment on social media is going to be you asleep with Zuckerberg having put you to sleep. for the rest of your career.
Now I'm getting scared, and I'm not sure that I would want to take this risk. Because, like, what if he catches you with a lucky one?
I'm saying you would tweet, hey, I think Trump's going to win 2024 over Biden. Like, that's your tweet. Like, and then the first response would be you put to sleep by Zuckerberg every single time, every opinion that you give for the rest of your media career. So how much money is that worth? To me, you're basically saying worst case scenario, I think I would need $20 million to be for the danger of being put to sleep by Zuck.
I think you throw seven figures at me, I'd probably get in the ring with Zuckerberg. By the way, I'd be more concerned about Musk. Is a big he's a big hefty guy.
But I don't think people are surprised. This is like if you get beat up by somebody that people expect you to get beat up by. Like if I got into a ring with Mike Tyson,
like Musk is 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. Like he's my size, right? So if he's going to take me down, that's a fair fight. If Zuckerberg really is, they say he's like 150 pounds and 5'7". I mean, that's light work right there. That shouldn't be too hard.
Like I should be able to pick Zuck up and throw him. I mean, 5'7", 150. I could pick him up and throw him. If he put me to sleep, that would be tough. That'd be tough to deal with.
I had an operator friend who told me once. He said, if you really want to know whether you're going to have a hard time with somebody in terms of like a scrap, if you're going to get into a fight, look at their forearms. He's like, if their forearms look like somebody who's just been lifting and gripping and fighting for a long time, you're in trouble. You know, if their forearms look like they've been lifting nothing but pencils for 20 years, you might have.
I've told this story, I think, on the show before. My wife, when she was in high school and college in Michigan, a bunch of the guys were hockey fighters. They would take mouth guards out to the bar in case they got into a fight. Can you, like, if someone ever says, like, hey, do you want to take this outside? And they put a mouth guard in, whatever you do not leave the bar. I mean, how intimidating is that? If somebody wants to fight you and they brought their own mouth guard?
This is like the answer if somebody has cauliflower ear, if you want to fight, is no. The answer is, if someone with cauliflower ear says they want to fight or wrestle or anything, you say, my lawyer will be in contact with you, sir. You do not fight.
If somebody calmly asks if you want to take a fight outside, you should 100% always say no, unless you fight for a living, because that's not someone who is like worked up and everything. You want to take this issue outside? No, I think I'm fine. I think I'll just stay in here with my beer.